Hello and welcome to India Energy Storage Alliance's Annual Report 2025, where we capture everything that has happened in the energy storage sector in 2025. We very proudly present you this report. I say we because it's me along with my team who has prepared this report for you, by you and with you. Thank you.
Hello everyone, a very happy new year to all of you. India's clean energy transition has moved from ambition to execution. As we look towards Vision 2030 and Vision 2047, 5 sectors will shape this energy transition: energy storage, electric mobility or hybrid mobility, battery manufacturing supply chain, recycling, reuse, and green hydrogen. So let me start with energy storage, the quiet enabler of the energy transition. As renewable capacity scales, storage is becoming essential. By 2030, it will ensure grid stability, renewable integration. By 2047, it will underpin the flexible, resilient, and digital power system. Electric or hybrid mobility is really the future of transport. Mobility is not just about vehicles. It's also about reducing oil imports, improving air quality, and building competitive manufacturing ecosystems. At the core of it all is battery manufacturing. Batteries are strategic assets. India must look at deep localization in the cells, materials, equipments, and advanced chemistries. Vision 2030 is about scale and self-reliance. Vision 2047 is about technology leadership. As batteries scale, recycling and reuse will be critical. The circular battery economy will secure critical minerals, cut imports and reduce emissions. Recycling is resource security. Finally, green hydrogen will link renewable energy to hard-to-abate sectors such as steel, fertilizers, and shipping. It will complement electrification and will scale position India as a major producer and exporter by 2047. The message is clear. These sectors are interconnected. Storage enables renewables, renewables power hydrogen, batteries support mobility, recycling closes the loop. Success requires aligned policy, finance, and industry action. India's clean energy transition is not just about decarbonization, it's about future industries. Atmanirbhar Bharat will be defined not by what we import less, but what we build and innovate at scale and for the world. IESA will continue to act as the trusted platform, bringing government, industry, and innovators together to shape policy, accelerate markets, and turn India's ambition into global leadership. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Bindu Madhavi Pulmahanti, Director for Policy and Regulatory at India Energy Storage Alliance. 2025 year has been a very good year. When I say the sector growth, whatever has happened, whatever the efforts which has been IESA has been doing for the past few years, we have seen good developments in that front. We also have witnessed government involved in doing much more for the technologies, emerging technologies, which has a potential for in India. Whatever support they can do, they have been showing a tremendous support from the government side. Same with the industry, they have few asks, which is the right now where IESA, I believe, we play a key role in bringing them into a reality. So coming to 2026, I believe this is the year our complete focus from IESA will be shifting from policy dialogue to implementation and creating that kind of markets for the industry to evolve in the next few years. That's where I believe IESA is going to be playing a very key role. Starting with that, there are a lot of tenders which has already been awarded, under construction, and expected to come in the next few years. That we believe this is the year where a lot of projects come into the implementation. We should see a lot of development should happen in that area. If a small and minor mistakes in that area can define the entire ecosystem, that's where we have to be very careful. That will come into implementation. Having said that, we also believe the long duration technologies which has a larger play to role, that will also be taken into consideration. It needs into a pilots or it kinds of R&D programs or kind of support which is required for the testing in the laboratories. That's where IESA is going to play a key role in bringing those dialogues with the ministries, stating we need to attract where the global companies are already making a progress. We need to bring them into a reality in India as well. That's where we are going to focus on LDS. Similarly, ancillary services, revenue market mechanisms, that's also another area we'll be focusing there. We'll be closely working with CRC, CA, MOP, etc. in bringing those mechanisms as well. Apart from that, there are few incentive support which might be required for the entire ecosystem that we'll be focusing on. Having said that, on the supply side, when we look into the manufacturing, although ACC PLI for 40 gigawatt hour is under the progress, there are a lot of areas which still needs a development or which still needs a support from the government. Coming from the critical minerals to raw materials and the entire supply chain ecosystem, it still needs that kind of push from the government, or there are certain barriers which has to be crossed by the industry. That's where we believe we'll be doing those works in those areas. We have already started our work in those areas. Vision 2047, you should expect soon from our IESA that should cover entire ecosystem requirements. And also in one more report which IESA will be focusing here, which is called Stationary Energy Storage Relook, which we relook into all the policies or progresses which are happened in the earlier years and what needs to be relooked into, policy into implementation. That's where we are going to work. And we are also going to focus much more at state level engagements now. That's where we believe the real implementation challenges has to be looked into. Coming to the resource adequacy plans to practical implementation of those projects that we will be focusing on. Coming to e-mobility and the battery manufacturing, and also towards the green hydrogen, there are some GST challenges or some of the support budget recommendations we have already given, or somewhere the custom clearances issues. In some cases, we also foresee there is a clear requirements of having a new custom codes for those individual items coming under these categories. Those are also our priority areas which we will be taking up. With that note, I would just say IESA will deliver in the 2026 our key responsibility of being a mediator between the government and the industry body and bringing the industry together, taking forward the sector and influence the growth of the sector. That will be our key focus area. Please work with us. Please join us for the future.
Hello everyone, my name is Sabir Kirpurikar. I am working in Policy and Regulatory Department of India Energy Storage Alliance. I will walk you through all the policies issued in 2025 with respect to the energy storage, e-mobility, battery manufacturing, recycling and green hydrogen sector. So 2025 has set a clear signal that energy storage is not an option. It will be a core component of power system. To go through the stationary storage, CA issued a advisory that energy storage will be co-located with the solar power projects going onwards. The MOP issued the PSP guidelines to develop the sector through competitive bidding process, where it has implemented to promote the transparency, traceability and competition in the sector. Wherever the main policy which was issued was the VGF scheme, the second tranche of VGF scheme introduced by MOP, where it has given the valuable and reliability to the sector by giving it to the various states. Then at the state level, various states has issued renewable energy policies with specified target for energy storage sector. Then going on to the e-mobility side, then government has introduced the PM e-drive scheme. Then Ministry of Power issued the battery swapping and energy storage EV charging station scheme. Then at the manufacturing sector, the government has launched the National Critical Mineral Mission, to secure the supply of critical raw materials required for battery manufacturing. Then at the recycling side, CPCB issued guidelines for the classification and utilization of black mass. At the green hydrogen side, government issued a certification scheme, and also several states have given various incentives for the sector, for the green hydrogen sector. So we can sum up this discussion as that the policy has evolved very much, that it has been a clear signal that India has moved from the policy signaling to the system building. Thank you.
For India's green hydrogen ecosystem, 2025 has been a year of real progress with a reality check. Globally, green hydrogen demand did not pick up as rapidly as expected compared to the ambitions announced by governments and industry around the world over the past 5 years. We saw news about project delays, cancellations, downsizing of targets, and overall slower policy development. This is the reality check. But green hydrogen potential isn't just hype. Low emission hydrogen achieved 1% market share in global hydrogen production in 2025. That is about 70% increase in low emission hydrogen production in just 5 years. India has also continued along its green hydrogen transition in 2025 from allocation of another tranche of financial incentives for 1.5 gigawatt per year electrolyzer manufacturing capacity to commissioning of several new pilot projects by industry and R&D institutions. 2025 has been a happening year for India's green hydrogen sector. These pilot projects include first commercial operations of hydrogen-powered ferry boat, then first port-based green hydrogen plant, and testing of 2 train engines powered by hydrogen, as well as approval of the first tranches of government funding for Hydrogen Valley Innovation Clusters, and the list goes on. But 3 developments have been real highlights for 2025. First, the launch of Green Hydrogen Certification Scheme of India, which has been a really critical milestone in India's green hydrogen journey. Second, the green hydrogen price discoveries through reverse auctions for use of green hydrogen in the refining sector. These price discoveries have led to prices of about 330 to 335 rupees per kg of hydrogen, which are really optimistic prices. And third, the green ammonia price discoveries to supply over 7 lakh tons of green ammonia per year to 13 public sector fertilizer producers for 10 years. These price discoveries, which have been about 50 rupees to 65 rupees per kg of ammonia, have been about 25 to 40% lower than the previous global benchmark. Here, India really set new global benchmarks for green ammonia prices. This is what I call real progress. As we look ahead, 2026 is a critical year for India's green hydrogen transition, for policy implementation and project construction and commissioning. Major green hydrogen and green ammonia offtake agreements are expected to be signed. Policymakers need to put in place and finalize the mechanisms for disbursement of financial incentives that have been announced, and construction of projects for green hydrogen and green ammonia need to progress substantially to meet their commissioning deadlines. So as an industry alliance, we are very much looking forward to continue to support all these stakeholders to accelerate India's green hydrogen transition in 2026.
Hi, myself Karan Francis. I work on the e-mobility vertical of IESA. So as you all know, we are recently launching the annual report 2026, so which will cover about different sectors. So I'll talk about the e-mobility side. On the e-mobility side, as you know, it has been a positive year for the year 2025. A lot of ups and downs have happened, and there has been changes in the policy intervention, as well as market updates, vehicle sales, and also the local domestic manufacturing of electronic components. Next, as we move forward, when we talk about the EV sales numbers, for the year 2025, around 2.3 million EVs have been registered in the year, and out of which majority has been comprised by two-wheelers and three-wheelers, which contribute around 75 to 80% of the overall vehicle sales segment. Now, if you see, the two-wheeler and three-wheeler segment is such an important segment in the mobility space of India, because it contributes to major mobility of the last mile connectivity, and well as travel of daily day-to-day persons. Next is the passenger car segment, in which for 2025 the electric four-wheelers are already reached 5% penetration. And also interestingly, the OEMs are making the cars that they produce on a global standard level. The cars that are coming out comes with level 2 plus ADAS as well as 500 plus kilometer ranges and also locally manufactured products. So the heavy commercial vehicles, both the passenger and the cargo, they contribute a larger segment on the terms of position. So electrifying the sector is very important for the climate goals as well as carbon neutrality. Next, finally, as we say, the goal or the way ahead looks positive to electrifying vehicles in the coming years and way ahead. So what we find is that going forward, it won't be just about selling vehicles or electric vehicles. It will be about manufacturing them locally as well as securing the critical materials to produce these vehicles.
Hi everyone, my name is Ibadur Rahman. I look after the energy storage division at IESA. I primarily work on the energy storage projects and also on the policy and advocacy front of the energy storage sector. So here I'll be talking about the India's energy storage progress in 2025 in terms of project execution, project deployment and price discovery. So the year 2025 marked a significant acceleration in India's energy storage journey. So during the year 2025, 5 BESS projects were commissioned with a total capacity of 575 megawatt hour, marking a 222% year-on-year growth compared to 2024. And so these projects include India's first vanadium flow project and India's largest commissioned standalone BESS project. So currently we have a total of 11 commissioned BESS projects in India. Apart from this, 27 projects totaling 25 gigawatt hour of capacity had their PPAs signed in 2025, and so these projects are expected to be commissioned by 2027 if of course if the project will be executed on a timely manner. In terms of tendering, so a total of 72 projects were announced by different government authorities, and so comprising of 65 BESS tenders with total capacity of over 58 gigawatt hours and around 7 pumped storage tender with a total capacity of around 74 gigawatt hour. So yeah, that's all about the project capacities, and now we will talk about the price trend that we have seen in the year 2025. So in terms of price discovery, the standalone BESS tenders tariffs declined by 70% in 2025 compared to 2023. This is largely driven by the VGF scheme, reducing cost of cells and growing competition within the market. And similar trend we have seen in the solar plus storage tender, where the price discoveries was around INR 2.8 per unit. So FDRE tenders prices were quite stagnant during the year, and FDRE tender price discovery was around INR 4.6, 4.7 per unit, and assured peak power tender price was around INR 6.7 per unit. And talking about the policy for energy storage sector, so various government policies were issued during the year by different authorities of government. So these include VGF Tranche 2 and extension of ISDS waiver charges for standalone BESS projects, and then of course the 20% minimum local content in the battery energy storage system. So these kind of policies are laying a foundation for a self-reliant manufacturing ecosystem in India. So going ahead to 2026, the outlook remained robust. Over 9 gigawatt hour of capacity is expected to be commissioned. If of course if the project execution will be done in the timely manner, and then